Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. Today we're going to be talking about Dr. Stone, The Stone Wars, or Dr. Stone Season 2, Episode 1. And really not a whole lot going on here, I'll be honest. I was hoping it would pull me back into it a little bit more. I know there are some episodes of Season 1 of Dr. Stone that are kind of rather boring, in my opinion. This wasn't really boring, but I kind of understand where it's coming from. We're definitely going to be getting a lot more interesting things happening in the next episode or so, I think, anyway. So let's kind of recap what happened. So basically, they just did like a whole little recap of what happened in Season 1, because I believe this got pushed back too. To my knowledge, it got delayed. I think this was actually supposed to get released in October. Could be wrong, but who knows. And it was like, all right, Senku got revived at some point in time. Everybody got frozen in stone for 3,000 years. Then he revived a couple other people to help him out. Senku was super smart. Tsukasa came out of nowhere. Tsukasa has a different idea for the world than Senku does. Tsukasa tried to kill Senku, and Senku was not happy about that, obviously. Uzuria and Taiju, if I remember these names all correctly, they were his friends, but we didn't really see them all that much, because they disappeared to go with Tsukasa very early in the first season. And I'm looking forward to seeing them again, because I generally like both of them. They definitely, Senku and Taiju definitely had that, kind of like a brotherly love connection there. And it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out. So for starters, we get, after we get the little recap, which we kind of already did in the special, but, is what it is. I completely understand the reasoning behind it. Not everybody saw the special. We get freeze-dried food, or space food, as they like to call it. So basically what that means is you take some ramen, you freeze it. It's winter, They don't have freezers. They don't need to build a freezer or a compressor currently, which I think would be extremely hard for him to do in the stone world. And after it's frozen in the snow for a while, then he uses the vacuum tube machine, which he already has, to suck all the moisture out of it, which, shrivels it up, dries it out, and then obviously you add warm water, good to go, freeze-dried food, space food. That is going to be very good for a preemptive strike on Tsukasa's empire in the middle of winter, because Tsukasa doesn't have all this crazy science stuff. He has nature right now. He has caves, building basic shelters to our knowledge. He doesn't have any crazy scientific inventions that will allow him to collect enough food to survive a battle in winter, whereas Senku and the villagers' Kingdom of Science does. So that's pretty neat. So now we have that out of the way. I thought that was going to be the gist of this episode, but actually they already had everything for it. And it was kind of interesting seeing Kohaku be like, oh, that's kind of interesting. All of these stuff, you think they're only good for one application, but they're good for multiple implications. Especially that water wheel and the generator giving them power. Light up the whole friggin' town. That's definitely pretty crazy, pretty interesting how that whole thing panned out. And then we get an interesting idea by, is it Gen? I believe it's Gen, if I remember these names correctly. I should have brought up the character list in front of me. I got my laptop and don't have the character list. And he can mimic voices, which we didn't know. And he can mimic Lillian's voice to, basically anybody, almost to a T. It's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty close. It's actually kind of funny. They animate her face on top of his, and when he does it. And his idea is to use the cell phones that are not going to have the best audio quality. The idea, popped into his head when they were listening to the record of Lillian play that all the villagers love, because I've never really heard that kind of beautiful singing before. And his idea is to fake her voice, say that the United States is saving people, that this didn't actually happen everywhere, and the United States is coming to help. And I thought that was an interesting history throwback to United States helping Japan kind of after World War II. At least that's what I thought it was a throwback to. Anyway, I could possibly be wrong there. But his idea is to trick all of the people in Tsukasa's empire into thinking, Lillian is a very popular figure. They all know her voice, into trusting her, thinking everything's going to be okay. So they're just going to go leave Tsukasa, because the only reason they're by Tsukasa is because he is very powerful. He can definitely get them food and give them protection as well. And he is kind of like the popular leader. Everybody knows about him. He was that, primate high school fighter, on all the TV screens, UFC, MMA, whatever it was. and he is a popular figurehead. So if they get somebody that's equally, if not more popular, theoretically, they can trick them into getting, Tsukasa alone, taking him down, and breaking that up and explaining the whole situation, why they did what they did. Senku ultimately doesn't want to kill anyone, which I think is going to be very interesting, because it's probably going to happen whether they like it or not, but who knows? I definitely don't get that fighty, killy vibe too much from this anime, minus out of Tsukasa, obviously. He has no problem killing people, as we have seen him do in the past, and try to kill Senku as well, which is not good, Mr. Murderer guy. So if anybody's going to get killed, it'll probably be Tsukasa, and they'll pretty much leave everybody else alone. The reason I say that people are probably going to die is it's going to be like a defense thing. So nobody's really going to want to fight anybody. We don't know what lies Tsukasa is telling to his empire, to all of his people. That, or he's kind of like brainwashing them with all of his ideas, and he's powerful enough where the people are either going to follow him or get crushed by him, so they don't really have a choice. They have to believe in his ideas, because in this world and in his empire, he is the strongest physically, and in the animal kingdom, as most of us know, the strongest wins. So the weak little guy, weak little insect is getting eaten by the bird, and then the bird's getting eaten by the fox, and the fox is getting eaten by the lion, and whatever else, food chain, etc. So that's I think Tsukasa is kind of brainwashing his people, but we haven't really seen a lot of that. 'Cause I kind of want like a Tsukasa only episode before the battle takes place. The reason I say that is because I don't know what the heck has been going on there the entire time. What he's been telling these people, what that situation is, etc. But anyway, general gist of that is they are going to trick people into thinking Lillian is alive to get Tsukasa alone to take him out, and hopefully not have to kill anybody in the process. We also get sound bladders, which are like giant noisemakers, where apparently if you burn a couple, I think it was water, you get the hydrogen and oxygen, it can make a deer's bladder explode to a very large noise. And that was to trick Homaru for it is Chrome and Magma and Gin from getting the cell phone to Taiju and Usuria, so that way they can broadcast this message to the people. That's the third part of the plan. Just so you know. So Magma, obviously, big strong dude. He can hold on to that big beefy cell phone and all the crazy batteries and junk fairly easily. But Kohaku could probably do it too. But he doesn't want to tell the people what he's doing because he thinks a lot of people will be against it. But I think, based on the circumstances, most of them, if not all of them, would understand. Yes, technically it's lying and tricking people, but at the same time, if you're doing it for the right reasons, then yeah, there's that as well. And then it just kind of ends the episode. So Tsukasa wasn't going to attack until the snow melted, and Senku is going to be bringing the fight to them. So Tsukasa is going to have some definitely disadvantages. One, he doesn't have a cell phone. He doesn't have a way to communicate to other people besides being in direct contact with them or yelling, which gives away people's positions, which he's not going to do. Two, you got the snow. Unfortunately, going for him. It's going to be hard to support an army in the snow, in the cold, with the resources they have. Yes, they can, probably kill a bunch of animals, get enough fur and pelts for warmth, but food is going to be hard to come by and hard to stock if you don't have a way to either smoke stuff, dehydrate stuff, make space food that's very light. Yes, you could theoretically smoke a bunch of meat, but it's still going to be fairly heavy. For anyone that's ever eaten something like turkey jerky, beef jerky, it's dense. It's dense, and a lot of it is going to be heavy, whereas opposed you do something freeze-dried like the ramen that Senku did previously in the episode, and that is super light, very easy to carry. All you need to do is bring a way to start a fire, heat up a little bit of water, and you are good to go. Good to go for the foreseeable future there. But that pretty much sums up the gist of this episode. Overall, we'll give it a 7 out of 10. No, I think I'm going to rate it a little bit lower, like a 6 out of 10. Because I was when you start a new season, I am fully expecting to be fully encompassed in that episode, that first episode. You do something amazingly awesome, maybe a little bit of recap, but it brings you back. And I really hate when it doesn't do that. And it didn't really do that for me. Yes, it brought me back into the general world, but it was very much so, whatever. I know the next episodes, and the next several episodes are going to be a lot better. I can guarantee it. It'll definitely get better. I hope it doesn't get worse. I really hope it doesn't get worse. Because I generally like Dr. Stone. Honestly, it's one of my, I would say, one of my favorite current watching anime that I am currently watching at this time. And it'll get better. Based on the first season, I know what they're capable of. I know it will get better, so I'm really not that worried about it. But I understand where they're coming from. You got to get everybody back up to speed. For the people that didn't do recaps, most animes do like a recap of what happened the previous season, so you're caught up because it's been as an extended period of time. And a lot of people are thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about Dr. Stone until about a week or two ago when I realized it was getting released. So I got everything lined up. Yet again, with the Jujutsu Kaisen thing and the Promised Neverland thing, I don't think I have to worry about it this week. Maybe next week I have to worry about it. If they're doing both episodes, probably just going to push either Jujutsu Kaisen or Promised Neverland right now to Sunday, and I'll probably alternate what gets hit on Sunday. That would make things fair for everybody viewing. My name is Steve Gray. If you've watched this video this far, please hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, and feel free to comment down below what you'd like me to do for future anime and cartoon-related videos. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.